Tracy Clayton.
And I'm Josh Gwynn, and we're the hosts of Back Issue.
We're back with Season 2.
You can remember the name of our show, Back Issue, because we're back for Season 2.
And we have issues?
Not wrong. We're going to revisit moments in pop culture we all think we remember and learn what they can teach us about where we are now.
We're going to talk about Whitney Houston, food you used to love, your favorite and forgotten singers of the 90s and the 2000s, and more.
So join Tracy and I with Back Issue Season 2. Listen on Odyssey, Apple Podcasts, and anywhere else you get your podcasts.
This is OMF on EEI.
This is an absolute disgrace for Chaim Bloom to come out publicly last week and say, we don't have enough. We need to do more. You need a first baseman. You know, win the World Series with Dahlbach at first? Are you kidding me?
Ownership hired Chaim for a reason, and all the moves that he's made have, for the most part, been really successful.
We don't need to put all the pressure on Sale now coming back. You get a chance to get Scherzer, you go and get him. I don't give a damn about building this farm system.
What this tells me is, either the Sox, they didn't think they could compete, with the Astros and the Dodgers this year regardless, or they just, didn't care about winning.
These other teams behind us that are making moves that are 9 games back, it's because I think they realize we're not necessarily at that point where we can shut the door.
Get off the ledge, everybody. This is a good team, and they're going to continue to be good.
So those were the calls on Friday, right, Lou?
Yes.
And they were kind of mixed.
Back and forth.
Yeah, they were back and forth, and some people were still good with his team, and others were a little bit concerned. I wonder if things have changed. Looking at the weekend, they got swept in Tampa. They watched the Yankees with Rizzo, who had a phenomenal weekend. Berrios pitching for Toronto.
Every acquisition was outstanding.
Exactly.
Across
Nobody beats the Riz.
Everybody.
So I'm wondering if people are feeling a little bit differently here today when you look at this Red Sox team. Here's Dave. Dave's in Connecticut. Hello, Dave.
Hey, guys. How's it going?
Good, Dave.
I just wanted to say Lou's been 100% right on this whole thing. I felt the frustration on trade day. And Chaim Bloom, he's not in Tampa. He's not in Kansas anymore. This is Boston. People expect championships here. You can't run this Red Sox team like you did Tampa. You got to go out. These kids overachieved all the way up until this time. Go out, make some moves to give them some help going into the push towards the end of the season. You can't run this team like Tampa. You pay $12 a beer in Boston. They play in front of 5,000 people in Tampa. That's not Boston. He needs to go out. Okay, and he needed to make some moves.
So let me ask you this, Dave. Do you really believe that this ownership group, and I know some people think they're cheap, but there's no history of them being cheap. To me, they do spend and they want to win, and they've been successful winning. Do you really believe that John Henry and Tom Warner are going to sit there and say to Chaim Bloom when Chaim says, no, I want us to be Tampa, and they're going to sit there and say, oh, that's great, we won't spend any money?
Well, he should have. He should have went out and spent money.
I think it comes down to is they're just not. Thanks for the call. They just not. He's not ready to do it.
Right.
Like he's not ready to do it in terms of like the Dodgers. They're ready to do it. They built things in the offseason. Again, these are the expectation teams. And they felt like the year wasn't going well. They had one more chance to fix it, and they went all in.
Didn't I read?
And I just don't think Bloom looks at his team and says, or his system and says, we're not where we want to be. A year from now, we'll see. A year from now, yeah, maybe we will be all in on our team. I think the players hear that.
I think you come to the conclusion that they probably sat him down, because did I not read somebody the other day said ownership really wanted to get in on Max Scherzer?
Yeah.
Okay. So my guess is they like the big names. They don't mind spending the money, contrary to what their reputation is. They don't mind doing it when they're in a position where they think they can win. My guess in this, Lou, is that Chaim Bloom basically convinced them that maybe we're not in a position where we can win right now.
My only thing is he brought it up as far as Bloom being in Boston now, and I think maybe this will kind of, it's still like new market, open eyes type of thing. Everyone sort of sat back and let him do his thing. But I think this is going to be an eye-opening experience for him, this deadline. When you're the GM here, and your team is winning, I understand what your goal is, big picture. I understand it's about sustainability. But you got to throw them a bone.
Yes.
When you have a good team like this one.
Yeah.
Like a team that they're enjoying. Right now, you're loving life. Fenway is packed. The music is blaring. Everyone's having a good time. People are watching on TV. They're listening on the radio. Everything is a blast. And you just think, okay, good. We're good. We'll feed him Schwarber, who might not be ready for 3 weeks, and we don't know if he's going to be the guy that 218 or the guy that 370.
Right.
right, for 2 weeks. So I'll throw him a little something. No, I think you got to throw him crumbs a little bit more. You got to throw him a little bit more. And you got to, I think, realize that, man, the interest in this team just wasn't the same in August and September. Geez, I never realized how much talk there is about a Patriots backup quarterback and quarterback play. And we had it controlled for about 2 months. People were talking about us. And now, because you didn't give them a little bit more, if we always said this, if your fan base doesn't truly believe in you, they're not going to invest emotionally. And they were starting to invest in you. And I just wonder if they are anymore. Or where they're going to be in the next month or two.
I think that's a great point. And I think that Hein Bloom may look at it and say he never had to worry about that in Tampa because nobody gave a rat's ass about the team. They hardly show up for the games physically in person, right? So they don't get emotionally attached to the team because they know there are limitations on where that team can go. They can compete, they can hang in there, they can win some games, but they can't win the whole thing because they can't go over the top.
Right.
People here get emotionally invested when they believe that you can win a championship. That's what it's about in Boston. It's not about that in Tampa Bay or anywhere else. So you're right, Lou. So what ends up happening here is, for all the goodwill that they've built up in 3 months, if they go down the drain here in the next 2 months, there's not going to be hope in the offseason. There's not going to be anticipation because all you saw, the last thing you saw, was this team just dissolving.
Yeah, but I think there will be, I wouldn't say there wouldn't be hope in the offseason because I think once you get past the emotional side of it, you say, okay, the organization took a big step in the right direction. And you know what? He didn't do anything at the deadline. They didn't get to the World Series, but neither did this team and that team. Only one team's going to make it, right, from the American League, and the other team's going to sit there and wonder if they gave up too much back in July. So I don't know about the offseason. I'm just talking about during the year. You're right. You're a GM. You don't make decisions based on fan base, whether you're going to win the headlines in the newspaper. You just don't do that. But it's easy to do in Tampa because there are no headlines. There's no fan base.
Right.
So you can just go do your business, do your job, do what you think is right, no matter if you piss off a couple hundred people, so be it. Here?
Exactly.
Here's a little bit different. And I just feel like you got to throw them a bone once in a while.
I like that. Throw them a bone every
This is what hurts most.
I know it does. Here's Alex in Connecticut here on EEI. Hey, Alex.
Yeah, hey guys, man. Thanks for taking the call. And by the way, I'm agreeing with everything you're saying in the last 5 minutes. And I'll tell you, I'm one of those emotionally invested fans my whole life. I know what it's like to be born and grown up in New York City as a Red Sox fan, especially from the Bronx.
In your accent.
We can hear it in my accent, I know. So believe me, and I know what it's like. Maybe Bloom doesn't know what it's like to go out of championship for years and years and years until finally 2004. And I think Bloom is he's missing the boat on this one because this guy, Rizzo, now I'm in Fairfield County, so, I watch the Yankees just to root against them because I really enjoy that.
Yes.
But I got to tell you, this team is now re-energized because this guy, Rizzo, is a good guy. He's a good baseball player. He's coming in. He's saying the right thing. He's not just a swing and miss like Gallo. Okay, I don't worry about that guy. But Rizzo, he was important for us to get. And, not only did they help themselves by getting him, he kept it away from us, which really kills us. Why don't they just trade Dahlback if anybody wants Dahlback? Because he's going to be another Chavis. That's what's going to end up with that guy. He's lost. And I was watching him. It's bang, foul to the right, swing and miss. And he was all weekend. That's exactly what happened. Yeah, it's true. It really is true. And the thing is that Rizzo is saying the right things. He's talking to the guys. He's re-energized the whole team. Now when you hear these guys interviewing, they're different than they were last week. I know.
I think there is something to that, that you get one of those acquisitions. The guy comes in, and he just changes the culture, the climate of what's going on. And especially with the Yankees, because it's been miserable. And there's been a lot of pressure down there in the Bronx because they have been vast underachievers. Though Lou thought they were going to suck before the season began. But a lot of people thought they were going to run away with it with over 100 wins. So they've been taking all sorts of heat. Now you bring a guy in that takes all of the heat off of you. It makes your life a lot easier every single day, Lou, and everybody else starts hitting in that lineup.
Oh, you hit the reset button.
Yep.
And again, I mentioned, Miami, Baltimore, then I think it's either Texas or Minnesota next. So they're going to have a 10-game span where mentally they can hit a reset. Listen, the first half was a complete disaster.
Yeah.
But now with 50 games left, 55, whatever it is, we got an opportunity here to erase the first 4 months. And in Rizzo, you talk about addition. Guys, I don't think adding a guy like Rizzo makes a difference. Well, if you don't really add top-shelf starting pitching, which I didn't even want them to do. Just add another 3 or 4 starter, whatever, depth starter. Now all of a sudden, you know how much of a difference it is when you take a 9-hole hitter who swings and misses all the time, it seems like.
Foul to the right,
yeah.
Swing and miss.
I nicknamed him foul to the right on Friday because that's what it is, 3-1-2-0, foul to the right, swing and miss. But take a guy like in the 9-hole who's not making much contact and bring in a guy like Rizzo or another first baseman that can actually hit like 5th for you or 6th for you.
Changes everything.
It changes your entire look.
Well, especially with that team though, and the pressure that Stanton and others have felt all year long. I mean, you can just see it, that it takes pressure off of those guys because people down there in the Bronx are pissed at the way that they have played to this point. Let's go to Joe. Joe's in Natick next up here on OMF. What's up, Joe?
Hey, Glenn, I was out to the stadium in Foxborough. I'm just switching over to football.
I bet.
Man, Mac Jones was seeing ghosts, man. He was pounding on the field. I mean, we can't have that when it comes to when Kansas City and Tampa and that defense has it. He got to get, he ain't playing college ball no more, Glenn.
Today he was hitting? Today he was doing that?
No, that was last week.
Okay.
Oh, that's last week's. That's last week's news, Joe.
Is that Christian?
I'd be impressed if that was Christian.
That might have been Christian with a
very
prank phone
impressed.
call. That might have been his best prank
Fourier
call
don't
yet.
do impersonations.
Right, because until you brought it up, Lou, I actually...
I don't know where he called about him slapping the ground last week. Okay.
Yeah, okay. I remember that. We will get to the Patriots in a little bit because I'm amazed that Bill Belichick has named the starter while I was gone. Lewis is in Miami. Hello, Lewis.
Doing fine.
This is Christian.
This rotation really scares me. This Martin Perez shouldn't be pitching on this team. I cannot watch that guy go out there every 5th or 6th day, and it's not even the 30 inning, and we're already down like 3 or 4 runs with this guy. This is incredible. Between him and Richards and even Eduardo Rodriguez, these pitchers are like they keep doing the same thing. It's like the definition of insanity. They keep pitching the same way. They don't make any adjustments and expecting like different results.
Well, hold on, Lewis. They are what they are. You talk about Martin Perez. Martin Perez is fine as a 4th or 5th starter in a rotation. That's all he is. He probably pitched above that earlier in the season. So again, we develop false expectations. He is what he is, and you're seeing that now.
Well, I would say with the rotation, this is kind of the way it's been all year long. Thanks for the call, Lewis. But it's like, again, tell me, Alex Cora will take 5 innings, 3 runs all day long, right?
Sure he will.
All day long.
Absolutely.
Do you know that's a 5.4 ERA?
Right.
Like, that's a 5.4. And that's...
The sticky things.
I mean, 5 innings, 2 runs is like what you got a lot early in the year from guys like Perez. It's what you got a lot from some of these other guys. And you were like, okay, we'll take it. 5 innings, 2 runs. Let's get to the bullpen. And when he has like a fresh bullpen like last night, he got Whitlock available. You're going to have nights where he doesn't even let Pivetta go 5 innings.
Right.
But 5 innings, 3 runs. That's what this staff is. And that's a 5.4 ERA. Baseball is different, the way they look at it. I don't know. I don't necessarily agree that that's a good performance, but I think they'll take that all day long. And so that's who these guys are. You say, well, he's got a low 5 ERA. He goes 5 innings, 3 runs. And every once in a while mixes in a 5 innings, 2 runs, or 6 innings, 2 runs, or 5 innings, 1 run. But for the most part, it's 5 innings, 3 runs. And that's a 5.4, which is what they are.
And you rely on this.
You rely on your bullpen.
Right. And you rely on this lineup to
give you
score
5.
runs to bail them
6.
out in that situation. And you're not getting that right now, Lou. Here's Todd in Rhode Island next up on EEI. Hello, Todd.
Hey, guys. Listen, I was with Angry Lou all the way to work the other day. I was gripping my steering wheel and banging on it. People probably thought I was going nuts when I'm at the stop signs. Every time they made an announcement and another team made a move and it wasn't the Red Sox, I was swearing and I was going nuts. I was like, they had a great first half. They limped into the All-Star break, and now they come out of the All-Star break and they're struggling. JD's not hitting, Xander's hurt, or he's struggling at the same time. And I couldn't believe they didn't make a move when they had these young guys come up and like amaze all of us for the first half. Throw them a bone, like you said. get someone up here that can hit an outfielder, like you said. It's an upgrade from Jackie Bradley, at least, but it just made me so angry that they couldn't make that one move.
Yeah.
Well, I think a lot of people are feeling that way, and they're feeling a little bit differently about this team. But the thing I think that rattles me the most, and I think that was one of the things that you were angry about on Friday, Lou, is Heimblum obviously was conscious of where this team is. And he doesn't believe that they can win it right now. Now, he might say it publicly that he feels good about this, but if he really felt that this team was a first baseman, maybe another pitcher away from really contending and winning this thing this year, I think they would have made the move, because I think the ownership would have sat there and said, let's do it. Let's go for it. To me, he's looking at this, and he might be right. We might have overrated this team. But he's looking at it. He's evaluating it. He doesn't believe that they can win right now.
His biggest thing is always depth. Having depth in an organization. He wants depth at AA. He wants depth at AAA. He wants depth at the big league level. And when Cora comes out and says, we got some guys injured that are coming back. Marwin Gonzalez, and it's like, okay, he's coming back, but we kind of know what he is, right? He's a valuable piece. He's a versatile player, but he's not exactly the bat you're looking for. Arroyo, he told us last week he's not close. He's the one bat you're looking for.
Yeah.
He can go to second base, and now you can put Kike out in center. You still got to hold it first. Maybe Schwarber can feel that. I don't know. But Danny Santana, you going to even mention Danny Santana's name? No. Coming back, and Brazier, we haven't seen all year.
Danny Santana was a leadoff hitter at one time for this.
So it's like, but this is what you got to do. I get it. This is what Cora's got to do. It's his toughest job right now. It's convincing this group, whether it's a couple of veterans who look around and know what it takes to win and know that they didn't maybe do enough or add enough to try to convince them that they're still good. And maybe use the chip on the shoulder. Maybe play all this stuff about the deadline and how they're done and they can't hold on. I don't know. Maybe motivate these guys. Whatever it takes. But it's his toughest job right now is get this thing turned around.
All right, 617-779-7937. We'll continue to talk about the Red Sox because people are pissed here today. And we'll get into the Patriots. I am shocked at this because Bill Belichick tells us about competition and it's always about camp and jobs are always open or whatever.
That's right.
Apparently we have a starting quarterback. I'm a little amazed at this. Last hour of OMF was brought to you by East Coast Metal Roofing. This hour of OMF brought to you by Northeast Men's Health.
Follow the show on Twitter at OMF on WEEI.
There's not a stupid question, there's not a bad idea, and go.
Now back to OMF.
Every one of us has to go out and establish our level of performance in whatever our role or capacity is. So it's a new season. We've done some things in the spring, but this is really the start of football season in terms of the team building part here in training camps. We all have a lot of work to do. That includes all of us. So we go out and do anything, then it's pretty much a clean slate.
So a clean slate, including the quarterback situation as well?
Including the coaches and all the players.
Wow. Clean slate. And I respect that. All the coaches, all the players, meaning all the players, every single one of the players, all have a clean slate. Makes sense. You go and you prove that you deserve to be the starting player at your position. So out of nowhere, Lou, Bill Belichick on Saturday, when asked about how long it was going to take for us to figure out the competition at the position. Here we go.
Do you have an ideal time frame for naming a starter to help you get ready for the season?
No. Well, Cam's our starting quarterback. I think I've said that. So
That seems a little different from the other day because you said the other day everyone starts from scratch.
That's right. Everyone does start from scratch, and again, we all have to reestablish ourselves, and that goes for a lot of other players that you could name as well. That I'm sure in your mind you think they're starters, and maybe they are starters, and they probably will be starters, but they all have to reestablish their positions. So that's across the board for the whole team. Doesn't just pertain to one position.
So what changed, Lou?
Apparently, how many days has it been since camp started and over the weekend? But it sounds to me like Cam Newton has reestablished himself as the starter.
They ain't never seen this Cam.
Right? I'm just saying, because when you come out and say it's a clean slate, everybody, players, coaches, we joked about it. We're like, so Josh McDaniels, offensive coordinator, his job's not secure yet?
So it's pretty much a clean slate.
Is the assistant offensive coordinator, like, could he go for his job if he has a good camp? But it's like, okay, everyone's at a clean slate. You got to go out there and establish yourself. And then he comes out, 5 days later and says that Cam's our starter.
Well, I mean, Cam's our starting quarterback. I think I've said that. So,
but he didn't, right? Because when they were asked about the quarterback, it was a clean slate. So now all of a sudden it's like, duh, of course, Cam's our starter. So I don't know, last 4 or 5 days he's impressed so much that he's obviously the starter for this team. And so I just don't get that from everybody that's sort of watching practice down there every day.
Yeah. So I've seen it online today, and apparently Mac Jones has had a terrific day, and you can't do this day to day, and we do it, but we shouldn't be doing it. Day to day, you look at the numbers, and you listen to Mike Giardi and Tommy Curran, Mike Reese, and others, and they'll tell you who was good, who was not so good. And it's a day-to-day thing, and it doesn't work. I get all of that. But there's only can be two reasons why Bill Belichick came out on Saturday and basically established Cam Newton as the starting quarterback. One would be he's realized this is a distraction every single day. Because all the media cares about right now is who was better today. Was it Cam or was it Mac? Who's the starter today? That's all they care about. It's either that, Lou, or maybe they're trying to build up a little bit more confidence in Cam Newton. Maybe they're a little bit concerned that this competition, which I always thought Bill loved. I always thought Bill loved bringing in younger players to challenge the older veterans so that they didn't realize that it's a cushy life and that their job is guaranteed. But maybe in this case, he's fearful that Cam is a little reluctant.
No,
right
and
now.
it sort of continues this, like, I don't want to say babying, but just with Cam Newton. Like there's no question he's the starting quarterback. Well, has he looked that good? Not based on a lot of people that have seen him every day. Maybe he's had his days where he has looked better than Mac Jones. We're comparing him to a rookie who hasn't played a snap in the NFL. So, once every other day he looks better than him. Okay. I don't know. You tell me. Maybe when they had the clean slate comment, what was the takeaway? Everyone's quarterback competition. He's not naming Cam. What has changed? Mac Jones, he thinks he might start. I don't know. Does Cam's camp get a hold of that? Do they hear those sort of comments or the way the opinion based on what Bill Belichick said? Was there a conversation like, hey, what do you mean there's a clean slate? I thought it was your starting quarterback. Or Cam's camp gives a phone call into the Patriots. What's this clean slate stuff? I thought Cam's a starter. You know what I mean? And maybe he's going to come out and play it off as, well, Cam's always been a starter.
Nobody works harder than Cam does.
I think I've said that before. Yeah, you said it last year when I asked you going into the final week. But and you said it at draft night. But the clean slate last week kind of threw everybody off. So I don't know, maybe Cam's camp got a hurt of that.
Maybe.
Heard a little piece of that.
And I think Bill is really good at this over the years, being able to motivate certain guys. He treats guys differently. We talked about this about Brady. He was able to do things to Brady, who was the star of the team. And until about 2 years ago, Tom Brady was good with it. He finally was fed up with it, and we heard Aaron Rodgers pretty much say the same thing over the weekend, right? That the Green Bay Packers were not allowing him to be part of the decision-making. So basically what we heard pretty much from Brady. But I think, to me, this was a little bit strange. So could it possibly be that Bill doesn't like the way the media is really treating Mac Jones? So this is Tommy Curran. This was on our airwaves this weekend, talking about what he has seen so far from Mac Jones.
Mac Jones in a vacuum, because everything keeps coming back to Cam. But if you compare a first-year rookie quarterback in the NFL, which Mac Jones is, to the other ones we've seen come through, Jimmy Garoppolo, Jarrett Stidham, Jacoby Brissett, and how this kid looks compared to how they looked in terms of processing information, there is no comparison.
So Tommy's not the only one. Yeah, Tommy's not the only one, Lou, who has been saying this, right? I'm wondering if Belichick is looking at this and saying, you know what? I need a little bit of humility with this kid. He's getting too much positive press right now. Too many people are saying good things about him. He's going to earn his way into this. And so it's a way of doing it by saying, oh, no, Cam is our starting quarterback.
Yeah, maybe. Maybe. I don't know. I mean, it doesn't seem like the kid is tearing it up to the point where he has a big head. I mean, he's had his ups and downs, right? He's had some days where people have been like, oh, my God. He just didn't look – not a good day today. Not a good day for Mac Jones. So if he was having, 3 or 4 or 5 good days in a row. And like you mentioned today, I think it was Phil Perry, 13 for 17, and actually that included 2 drops from Aguilar and Hunter Henry. And he says at one point, Jones got 16 straight reps today. So was this one of those things where it's like, okay, now that I've announced Cam Newton's a starter, I'll make Cam feel a little bit better by giving, and it's okay to give Mac Jones more reps because I already told Cam that he's the starter. You know what I mean? And sort of do it this way. I don't know the mental games that he is trying to play, but it doesn't seem like this kid needs humbling because I think he's been humbled in the first week already.
Okay, but would you agree there was something behind Bill's intentions on Saturday? We played the first cut in which he said it's a clean slate for every position, every coach, including quarterback. And then suddenly he changes his entire tune here?
See, I think Bill slipped with the clean slate. I think he slipped, uncharacteristically slipped. And what happened? When he says, good example. I go out there, I say it's a clean slate, and there it is. Every damn reporter in town saying it's a quarterback competition. That all of a sudden now, because I said this after saying Cam was a starter back then, they're holding it against me. And they're saying how Mac is now the starter. So I think he slipped and created a story. And that's why he absolutely downplayed it and poo-pooed it with that reaction. Like, I think I've already said it. Like, hello? Where you guys been?
Said it last year.
But you know what I mean? Everyone's like, no, actually you didn't. So I think his way of squashing a little slip-up that he had last week is to sort of make you feel stupid into thinking that's what he meant. Because that's how he goes about it.
He's good at that.
Yeah, he makes you feel stupid. What'd you really, what'd I say? No,
so let me ask
Cam's
you,
a starter. I've said it many times, you idiot.
So let me ask you this. Does it mean anything what he said on Saturday?
I don't think it means anything. And nothing he says means a goddamn word, to be honest with you.
Either.
So I'm glad we're not talking to him anymore. But I mean, I'm just saying, like I don't think any of it means anything. What the play on the field will dictate everything. How you doing, Bill? The play in the field will dictate everything. Right? If the kid starts playing better and has more good days than bad days and Cam doesn't improve, then I think eventually the kid starts. It might not be week 1, but he's going to be in there. That's what matters.
There's clearly a motivation behind everything that Bill does. And it either is one of the 3 different things that we just brought up. But I don't believe that the starting quarterback as officially for the start of the regular season has been announced yet. It simply is not.
But don't you think that's the way Bill wants to play this? Cam Newton's my starting quarterback.
Well, I mean, Cam's our starting quarterback. I think I've said that.
Yeah, you idiots. But, no, Cam's our starting quarterback. I drafted a kid 15th overall in the first round. I ain't handed him anything. I ain't handing you a damn thing. You might think you're having better days than Cam, but I'm going to tell everybody that Cam's my starting quarterback.
Yeah,
he's going to make sure this kid earns it. That's all.
Yeah, I think he's really good at this, Lou, and I think he really is. It's either, again, a weakness with Cam, or it is something with this kid. He is playing games to keep this away from being a distraction, because let's face it, we were licking our chops. This is 3 months of content for everybody, sitting there talking about the quarterback. And I'm not going to stop, because I do not believe, contrary to what Bill said on Saturday, I don't think he has chosen a starting quarterback for game 1. Is it more likely to be Cam? It is, because the kid still has a lot of learning still to go here. On the other hand, I don't believe it's part of it. We got more Bill Belichick talking about his 2 quarterbacks, the starter and obviously the backup quarterback. Or is Hoyer the backup quarterback? We'll get to all of that and more coming up next right here on OMF. All right, so Bill Belichick, after telling us last week it's a clean slate for all of the players, including the quarterback, out of nowhere on Saturday tells us, nope. I mean, Cam's our starting quarterback. I think I've said that. He did say it last year, but he did not say it last week. So Cam Newton is your starting quarterback, according to Bill Belichick from Saturday. Lou and I are not buying any of it. It's just right now what Bill needs to do for some reason, whether it's Cam being a little insecure, whether it's Mac Jones feeling too secure, I don't know. So Bill Belichick is on Sirius XM radio this morning, Lou, with Jim Miller, and he is asked about Cam Newton and the consistency of Cam Newton.
Cam's been very consistent, so what he is this year is what he was last year, and what he was in December is honestly pretty much what he was in August. So he brings it every day, is ready to go, has good energy, he's very professional. He's one of our most consistent players.
Yeah. How was the
point?
So he's saying all the right things about Cam Newton in a public radio interview. But are you buying the consistency that he's talking about?
No, I mean consistently. What, like consistently inconsistent? Like that's how consistent he is, right?
Yes.
I mean there isn't just like this report. These guys watch it down there and they come back and I know that there might mentally, I get it. When a reporter shows up at camp, mentally they might be looking at Cam Newton harder than say Mac Jones because in their mind they really want Mac Jones to look good, right? And they would prefer Cam Newton to look bad. Cool. So there's a little bit of that going on. But there has not been, and we've seen it once or twice, where Cam had a pretty good day today. You know, there wasn't maybe one of those where actually Cam had a pretty good day today. Others where he might have looked better than Mac, but neither one looked good, right? I mean, seriously, we sit there all day long and say, well, so-and-so was 8 for 19, the other guy was 10 for 20. Well, to me, both suck, right? I mean, that's not good. So the consistency, like what? What is it?
What he is this year is what he was last year.
That's not good. What he is this year is what he was last year.
That's not what I'm
is that what anybody wants? Like he can't be what he was last year because we even had guys like Keyshawn Johnson, wasn't it? Who said, bro, if you play like you did last year, you should just retire. Like that's one of his boys.
Yeah, the same guy that was pumping his tires all year long and making
every excuse for how he looked.
Exactly.
But he'll at least admit that it didn't look good. I'll give you every excuse and why you didn't look good, but I'm telling you right now, if you look like that, then you should retire. And Bill's telling you he looks like he did last year, so what does that tell you?
August and December, it was all the same. Bill has gone out of his way like no other player I've ever seen. He never did it with Tom Brady. He has gone out of his way.
How's he not better?
To pump the tires.
What he is this year is what he was last year.
Of Cam Newton. But we all know that Belichick knows far too much about this game. He can't be buying into any of this stuff. He needs Cam Newton right now, Lou. He needs him for a reason. And I think that Bill Belichick is part of the reason that Keyshawn, up until the interview that you just talked about, we changed this to.
Go out there and you play like you played last year, I want you to retire, but I don't think that's going to happen.
Wow.
What he is this year is what he was last year.
Oh, my God.
That's new Keyshawn, by the way. That is not what Keyshawn has been saying all along because he was on midday on our station all year long, and he was pumping the tires of Cam. He was making excuses for Cam. I don't know if you heard he had COVID.
Well, no, you're making excuses. You're making excuses. Like I could have some guy that goes out there like J.D. Martinez last year, and we can sit there and make excuses for the guy.
Yeah.
Right? But you can sit there and say, yeah, this guy was completely lost. But if you know, in spring training, if Alex Cora came out and says, yep, J.D. last year, 210, he looks like the same guy as he was last year. What? Better not look like the same guy. Better look like the guy the year before that. So it's like we'll give a guy excuses all the time. That's an admission of poor performance. I'm giving you an excuse on why you sucked. But if you come out and look the same, I'm taking the excuses away. You've got two tight ends. You actually have questionable but still wide receivers. I get it. I still hate the room, but you got two tight ends. You got a running back, one of the best pass catching running backs, you know, we've seen for a while. Look, as far as longevity goes, good player, James White. Got to be better. You can't be the same guy. You can't be the same guy.
What he is this year is what he was last year.
Oh my God.
And Bill, I think, is partially responsible for, and I'm not saying responsible, and he is part of the reason that so many of these national media people rave about Cam Newton. But Bill's the coach. Bill's trying to get through with this team right now without having a top-tier quarterback. Doesn't have that.
No.
So he's basically BSing his way through it. He's using the skill set that Cam Newton still has, Lou, which we know pretty good in the red zone, and trying to just get them through all of this. So that's why I don't believe any of it, that if Matt Jones goes out in the next 2 months, and he's going to have a couple months to be able to do it, right?
What he was in December is
he'll have
honestly pretty much what he was in August.
To be able to do it, but a total of a couple months here to get his act together.
Does that mean he still doesn't know the playbook?
Same as August, same as December.
Wasn't Cam working on his mechanics this offseason too? Yes. Going to a throwing coach?
Yeah, he was. He went to the throwing guy.
I thought I saw on Instagram, well, they haven't seen this Cam.
Yeah.
You know, healthier, weight loss, no surgeries in the offseason. I'm a different guy. And Bill's saying he's the same guy.
There's not 32 guys better than me.
Nope, 36. Unbelievable.
By the way, that
Bill,
guy in December that Bill just alluded to had a 59% completion rate for 431 yards through 4 games, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. That guy is playing right now in August.
Yeah, Bill is just saying all of this stuff just to get by. And I think the reason he named Cam the quarterback on Saturday is to try to end the distraction, because those are all the questions. So what do you think Jim Miller's next question, Lou, was to Bill Belichick? It was about Mac Jones.
There you go.
Yeah, how has the install gone with the young Mac Jones?
As you know, Jim, better than anybody, as good as anybody. It's a big jump from college to pro. I don't care where you come from, who you are, what system you've been from, or which one you're going into. So, more coverages, more fronts, more adjustments, more plays, more everything, and a higher level of skill, obviously, on our side of the ball and on their side of the ball. So, like any rookie, he's making a lot of progress. He's got a long way to go. He's working through it. I'll just take it day by day.
He's got a long way to go.
Let me ask you a question. Like, when you say higher level of skill, what positions are we talking about? Like linemen? Running backs? You think Mac Jones has played with better running backs and wide receivers than this team has currently?
Just this past season.
I do.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, I do. Like, I think his wide receivers and Najee Harris is probably better than what you got. I like Damian Harris, don't get me wrong, but I'm just saying I think that in his course of his time at Alabama, he's probably seen better skill guys than you have. You got a better offensive line. You got, your defense is better. As good as Alabama's defense is, your defense is better. I get it's the NFL. But as far as weapons go and skill positions, I'm not so sure I agree with that one.
So I'm wondering the true and honest sodium pentothal induced Bill Belichick is really thinking, because is he seeing the same stuff that Tommy Curran and Mike Giardi and others keep on saying?
How about this? Would it be fair that if you asked him about Cam Newton and his response, would it be a fair response to say, I can win with him, but I'd rather not? Like, I can win with him. You know what I mean? I can. I'll grind out games. We'll shrink the playbook. We'll run the football. We'll control it. I'll out-coach the other guy in the fourth quarter. We'll do things defensively, whatever, and that team will crap themselves and we'll win football games. I can win with Cam, but I'd rather not to. I'd rather have this kid understand the offense, and I'd rather be able to open it up a little bit more with this kid, because I think he can do more.
See, I think, honestly, he probably sees and gets excited with what he sees with Mac Jones. And I'm not saying that there isn't a learning curve that Bill totally understands the kid's going to have to go through. And he probably wants him to go through it in a tedious manner so that he can gain something out of it. And I do remember when Tom Brady was the 4th-string quarterback, then the 3rd-string quarterback, and then the 2nd-string quarterback. And again, we're not trying to compare Tom Brady to Mac Jones. But same questions were asked, because media looked at Tom Brady and said, what is Bill doing? He's holding a 4th quarterback active on the roster. They knew that he really loved Tom Brady. But Bill wasn't going overboard talking about Brady. There was no glowing, oh, my God. Nope. Drew Bledsoe was the starting quarterback. And I don't think Bill wants to get into any of this stuff right now, Lou. I don't.
Yeah.
I think he wants to keep
he's
the
watching
distraction
stories.
away.
That's what he does best. Right?
You know what he wants? I heard today questions that were being asked. Bob Sosey asked a couple of questions that had nothing to do with the quarterback, and they were involved in other things. And Bill loved that. I think he would love to be able to talk about other aspects of the team and stay away from the one thing that all of us want to talk about, and that is who is going to be the starting quarterback. So the best way Bill could deal with it is, I got my starting quarterback. All right, I'm announcing it right here. I told you, didn't I tell you already? I got a starting quarterback. Cam Newton, he's my starting quarterback. Yeah. So now when anybody asks a question in the days ahead, even through these preseason games, trying to figure out why did he play in the first half and why did the other guy play in the second half, Bill's answer could always be, I already told you who the starting quarterback was.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So what are we wasting our time here for?
I want to go. Can we go to House real quick?
Let's go to House. House is in Dorchester. Big house.
What up, House?
Okay, so here's the deal, right? How y'all doing, first of all, family? But listen, Lou, did you just say you said their offense was better than the Patriots' offense right now? So we switched and took Alabama's offense, the offense that you're talking about, and put them on the Patriots. You saying that they're just as good or better?
We're talking about skill positions, right, House? Skill position. Okay, so guys that Mac Jones have played with. What if I told you your wide receivers could be Henry Ruggs, Jalen Waddle, Jerry Jeudy, and Devontae Smith? Are those guys better than what you have?
Okay, so here's the deal. They are presumed to be better. On paper, they're better, but I can't say they're better because they in the profession.
First round draft pick.
Oh, I can say that Jerry Judy's better than anything you got.
First round draft picks.
I can say Jerry Judy's better than anything you got.
You think so?
No question in my mind.
I think Kendrick Bourne is going to show off this year.
Oh my God. Okay, I mean, you're talking about guys that haven't done anything either. I mean, Kendrick Bourne, he's okay. I mean, he's all right, but I mean, you think Jerry Jeudy? You think Kendrick Bourne is better than Jerry Jeudy? And because I'll give you, listen, we don't know what Jalen Waddle is in the league, Devontae Smith, or Henry Ruggs. I think had a bad year last year, didn't he? He was just okay.
Yeah,
so I get it, okay, but you're telling me if you had those four guys at wide receiver instead of Gunnar Olszewski, N'Keal Harry,
let me just tell you what. Okay,
Kendrick Bourne,
let me say this before you hang up
Jacoby
on me.
Myers.
You just said they had a
Aguilar?
bad year. Okay. So now, Gunnar Olszewski had a bad year, but Gunnar Olszewski performed and he produced. He may
As
have,
a punt
it may have
returner.
been sparring in between, but he did produce.
As a punt
Those other
returner.
guys-
House.
Okay, punt returner.
What did he do as a wide receiver?
How many times was he out there as a wide receiver? Let's be real.
Why wasn't he out
How
there
many
in one of the
times was
worst
he out
wide
there?
receiving groupings in the NFL?
He
Why
had
wasn't he out there?
5 catches for 62 yards.
And he couldn't.
You know Bill Belichick, he has a position for you. That's just a name. You play everything, and he plays to your strengths. So if he's doing that, and this man is a Pro Bowl punt returner, why would he put him at wide out? And it doesn't make a difference. If he didn't perform, he'd be off the team.
Because he's a valuable punt returner, House. Listen, they didn't have any wide receivers last year. You thought if Gunnar was any good at wide receiver, he wouldn't have played? Is that what Bill does? He holds players. He doesn't do what's best for the team? I mean, I don't even know how we got to Gunnar Olszewski. Are we debating whether he's better than Jerry Jeudy, too?
No, you went to
I mean, what are we doing?
I think he is.
Come on, man.
Oh, come on,
Jalen
man.
Waddle, Devontae Smith.
We're talking about guys that were selected in the first
I don't think you
round
should
of the
even
NFL
get
draft.
that emotional or upset about it. Me saying that those 4 wide receivers, and maybe I'll throw Najee Harris out there too.
Yeah, exactly.
And I like Damian Harris, but
no,
that's not even an argument, is it?
I think it's not much of an argument. It's not much of an argument, and I think it really comes down to. And then now there's a difference of Mac Jones being able to learn an NFL system, certainly this system, to getting his game up to a certain level. And I think that's part of what Belichick wants him to kind of do right now, to get through this process. But when you're talking about the talent that's been around that kid's had incredible talent. Incredible talent. Incredible
I'm with
talent.
you.
And I would say that it's better talent than certainly what we've seen in the first few years here of N'Keal Harry. Now, he demanded a trade, we all remember, and that wasn't that long ago, right?
No, Glenn.
What?
He didn't. His representative.
Oh, his representative.
So
his
that wasn't
agent.
N'Keal. It was his representative.
So
Okay?
Bill did admit something today, Lou. He sat down and had a conversation with N'Keal Harry. What was that all about? We'll get into it coming up next. And your phone calls at 617-779-7937. Is anybody buying what Bill Belichick said on Saturday that Cam Newton on, what was that, July 31st is his starting quarterback? I'm not buying it.
Hey, we're the hosts of Pod Save America. Every week we break down the political news that makes us laugh, cry, and scream into the void with a conversation that's entertaining, informative, and hopefully useful.
We try to be serious without taking ourselves too seriously because we all have to stay in the fight. Democracy is under attack, and there's a whole right-wing machine that's counting on the rest of us to give up and check out, and we can't let them win.
So join us. New episodes of Pod Save America drop Mondays and Thursdays. Listen for free on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Odyssey, or wherever you get your podcasts.